Okay, let's continue with this project. You can see that I've gone ahead and got my, again, my 4 organs here. My dots are in place, and I know it looks a little weird, right? So way down here in the ankle is my urinary system. And again, we talked about don't worry how it looks on the viewer. It's got to look good on the device, on the tablet. And so I'm not concerned about this because it looks good on the tablet. All right, let's go to code. So we'll go to our blocks, and you can see I've begun the process of changing these X and Y values. I have a little piece of paper where I was writing down the X and Y that I got from designer mode, right? So I clicked on digestive system, for example. I went over here and I took note of a -2 and a 14, right? And I wrote that down. I did that for all 4 body parts and all 4 placement dots. That's what I have to do over here. Right? I've got to change those X and Y's for all 8 things. I'm not going to make you watch me do that. You can take care of that. Now I need to put some code together that will allow me to move these body parts. This is the exact same code you used in Germ Fighter when your white blood cell was stopping the germ cell. Right, so if I want to move the brain, for example, I'm going to tap on brain, and I'm going to get the when brain dragged code. And what we're going to do is tell it that when we do move that, right, we want to call that, that piece to do something. We want it to call to move to a certain location. So we're going to call brain move to. And we need to tell it to do that current X and current Y thing. And again, you may have to use your trackpad for this. Sometimes the screen doesn't let that pop up. There's my current X. We'll drop that into place. There's my current Y. And I'm just mousing over these. I'm not clicking on them, just kind of just hovering over it, and it pops up. So wait for my current Y, there it is, tap it, and drop it into place. Okay, so with that code, the brain is now movable on the screen. And you'll have to do that 3 more times for each. Now, there's something else we need to do, and that is set it so that when I take my finger off of brain, it looks to see if I've put it in the right spot. And if I have, it stays there, and if I haven't, it goes back to its original spot. So this is again going to be under brain, but it's not a brain drag this time. It's a brain touch up, which basically means when I take my finger off of that sprite. So brain touch up. And then because there's 3 options here, so it's going to be an if then else under control. If then else. And the first thing is to ask a question, right? Is it touching, or this program uses the phrase colliding with, the brain placement dot? This is the same thing you did in Germ Fighter when you checked to see if things were colliding so you could score points. So if brain, so again we go to brain, is colliding with, there it is, call brain colliding with, drop that into here. And what's it colliding with? It's colliding with brain placement. So I'm going to go to brain placement, and I've got to go to the very bottom here. And I'll be honest, sometimes because of your screens, this piece down here can be hard to grab. So I'm going to just use my trackpad and get it highlighted. There it is. I'm going to try to pull this out, and it worked for me. Okay, so brain placement. So it says if the brain collides with brain placement, what basically means is, does the brain picture come in contact with the brain dot? If it does, I don't want the brain picture to move anymore. So I'm going to set that brain to be enabled false. So I'm going to go back to brain and look for something that says set enabled to. There it is right there. Set brain enabled to. And I want that to be false, so I will look in my logic area and I will grab a false. Okay, so if it touches the dot, it can't move anymore. If it doesn't touch the dot, if I take my finger off of it someplace else, like the wrong spot, I want my brain picture to jump back to its original X and original Y. So that's going to be a call brain move to. Call brain move to. And there it is. Grab that. And because the original x and original y are actually variables, that's where I'll find them. And I'm just going to grab one of these gets, because inside the get will be all of my variables. So get, and there's a bunch of them there, so be careful. Get original brain x. And it's going to be right, in my case, it's right here in the middle. Original brain x. And then again, under variables, I'm going to do a get. And I'm going to do original brain y. And at this point, I've shown you what you need to do. You have to do each of these 4 times total, and that way you've got your app working to the point where we want it to be working by the end of class today.